Man, man, how I will say this. There is a calming thing about knowing when you have number 15 and you're going to the end of a game and you got time left
Yeah.
on the clock. It is
Welcome to the Banter. I'm Dave. That's Hobbsy. Hobbsy, God, man, I'm already struggling.
hey,
Brought to you by Berserk
yeah,
Athletics for all your team custom uniform needs. Man, first of all, what a hell of a week.
oh yeah.
Uh, Before we even get into anything, gotta say this, get it off. Congratulations to the man boy or the
Yes,
boy
sir.
child
Yes, sir.
heading to state
Punch,
wrestling.
punch, punch the ticket.
Punch the ticket,
Punch the
man.
ticket. Yep.
Uh,
He
I,
wrestled good, wrestled well. Pesky pious kid, you know.
yeah,
I won't get started. I'm not gonna make excuses because I'm not that dad, but we'll just say pesky pious kid. Wrestled him well. Pious kid didn't pin him.
yeah.
Got second. Second time him and the pious boy wrestled. First time the pious kid pinned him. This time he didn't pin him. I think it frustrated the kid. Just good. Kid's a good wrestler. I'm not gonna take that away from him. Braden wrestled well. That kid just wrestled better
Yeah.
in that match. But all in all, got to take a punch on his first match. Got second. So now 2 years into high school, he's got a district championship and got a second place and two-time state guy. Or not, you know, he's went twice.
Boy.
So, yep, he added about 15 wins so far this year to last year. So everything's looking good. Proud of him. Proud of him.
Boy.
It's been fun. Last year, it's funny.
Oh, go ahead.
No, last year. So you know how this. You know, Mom always gets all nervous. Mom's a nervous wreck, and Papa's a nervous wreck. And you know, last year I was kind of the mellow, calm. And then like this year, you know, as he's getting going, and the more I'm learning about it, and the more I'm understanding what's going on, and like paying attention to the other kids, because oddly enough, you know, track wrestling is much like watching any other bracket when you're a sports guy or anything. So then you're all like, oh yeah, then you're just invested in it. So now it's kind of funny because now I'm a nervous wreck before he goes out there. Yeah, and then once he gets going, you know, I know I'm loud as shit, but then every time win or lose, it's just cool to see him out there. So that's fun stuff.
Well, I do have to say this, man. I last episode we talked about hats.
Oh yeah.
So if I see correctly, you rocking it. Is that a Durham Bulls?
That is a Durham Bulls hat, and it's the Technicolor Durham Bulls hat.
Nice.
Yes. So it's the throwback to the race.
I had someone reach out to me and said that we definitely have to do a hat episode.
Oh yeah.
And that they enjoy seeing the lids that we put on our heads. So it's crazy that you had your Durham Bulls hat on. I had one on yesterday. And I always lie. I got the game one.
Oh yeah.
So the royal blue one, and I always get asked if that's a Denver Broncos hat.
Mm-hmm.
So I always laugh and say, no, it's a Durham Bulls minor league team. And if you don't know who it is, just Google it. There's an absolute epic baseball movie about it. Mm-hmm. And that's the reason why I got to follow Durham Bulls and why I rock Durham Bulls hats.
Little Crash Davis and Nuke LaLoosh.
Hey, exactly. And a little tribute to Roberto Clemente.
Yeah, that is. I was getting ready to say that is sexy.
I have another one coming.
Yeah, that's good looking.
Another one's gonna be He is probably one of my favorites after doing a high school paper on him.
Mm-hmm.
And I would love to have watched him play in person before my time.
Can you imagine?
So even though I'm not Puerto Rican, I wear it proudly.
Mm-hmm.
And because he is just a big humanitarian within the game of baseball. I mean, for Christ's sakes, they have an award named after him. So we're going to start touching on our lids more and more because someone gave me a holler through a message and said, you guys got to start describing your lids. So
no
there
problem,
it is.
man.
Durham Bulls. Hobbs you got on. Shout out to Roberto Clemente. So we'll be doing more and more because, hey, that's a staple. That's a staple.
Well, we got it.
So we're going to jump right into it.
Mm-hmm.
How about them Chiefs?
Oh. Yeah. Man, how I will say this. There is a calming thing about knowing when you have number 15 and you're going to the end of a game and you got time left on the clock. It is, I'm starting to believe that it is fully inevitable that if there's a chance, and it seems like it's becoming way too easy.
It is. Go ahead.
The game was great. Like you and me talked about it. I knew it looked like early on I think when CMC fumbled, it was a blessing.
Yes.
Because they look like that. It's funny how one play can change so much. Because I really, really think they roll right there on that one.
Yeah.
And that's a whole different situation ball game we see. But thank God for that fumble. Thank God for maybe it slowing the game down just enough. And then thank God for experience, and number 15 and Rashi Rice when he needed him, and Kelsey doing Kelsey things, even if it was a little much on bumping Big Andy. And man, and thank God for knowing the new overtime rules that were put in place because of you guys.
Well, and here's what throws me off is the fact that it seemed like the 49ers didn't even know about the rules. Like, how do you play in the NFL and not know what rules you're playing under?
Exactly. And you're then you see the presser afterwards, and Shanahan said that he had told his coaches to discuss it with them leading into the week, but had not made it an emphasis all year.
Yeah. Well, they didn't need it all year.
Yeah. But why in God's name, if you know you're a Super Bowl contender, the minute you get in the playoffs, even if you wait till then, are you not saying, hey, this is humongous?
Yeah.
Like this is as big as a game changer as you can get. And it just shot themselves in the foot, man. And that's no matter how the Chiefs are playing or not, you cannot shoot yourself in the foot if Mahomes is the quarterback. It'll get you every time.
You can't give the guy any time.
None. He makes it stand still.
It's like you see him with the ball in his hands. He doesn't look rattled. He doesn't look like anything is going to phase him. And there are times he is definitely I'll put you on my shoulders and I'm going to carry you to the finish line. God, I agree. Like we talked about, McCaffrey, if he wouldn't have fumbled, that was huge.
Kinlaw getting hurt, or Greenlaw, or whichever one. Kinlaw, Greenlaw, whatever his last name is, that was huge.
But absolutely fun to watch. It started off slow.
Yeah. Seventh longest game in NFL history.
Then it picked up, and then it became absolute fun finisher, and then all of Kansas City sounded like Beirut with all the fireworks.
Yes, it did. They went a little exciting.
But besides the game, what do you think of the halftime show?
I enjoyed it. Like you go back to when we talked about it, and he kind of, maybe not the songs I wanted him to start with, but he came out kind of the slow way, and then built it up, and then I'm like, all right, and I'm like, if A Keys comes out, we're on to something here, and I'm like, and then when I saw her, I'm like, okay, now we're getting somewhere, and then I'm like, looking good for her. And then when Lil Jon come out in the crowd, I'm like, okay. And I'm like, so help me God, Ludacris better be coming out on that stage. And then when he did, and they looked like the fucking fighting purple cobras from Dodgeball, just ready to go. I'm like, oh yeah. And I enjoyed it. Like I like Usher. I thought he did a good job.
Yeah.
It wasn't, everyone always sets the bar up here, and it's hard to ever. But man, my guy sweated, looked like he just did a P90X episode.
Man,
working, yeah. But I liked it. I enjoyed it.
I tell you, I enjoyed it. Kind of like the game itself. He started off a little slow, and then it's like then he got it going.
Yep.
And then I think he picked up when he started singing "My Boo" with Alicia Keys.
Yep. Oh, well, that would motivate anybody.
She would pick up anybody.
Yep, that'll do it.
But of course, I got some looks when I told everybody, "Hey, hush." Hey, my future baby mama singing to me.
Right. Voice of an angel. Looking all good in that red.
I have to ask you this too. What are your thoughts on old Travis bumping Andy?
I think, like and it's like Jason said, I think it was a little much. But
yeah,
we're both former athletes.
Yeah.
I've both of us have over the years seen fire in people. I mean, in many of things, and I likened it to the TV made it worse than it was. I think that when you're competitive like that and things go that way, we don't normal people, couch coaches, the regular fan, they're not seeing the dynamic or truly understand the dynamic between those two.
Yeah.
As professional NFL football player and coach, a man that's dealt with Donovan McNabb, a man that's dealt with Terrell Owens, a man that's dealt with a lot of different personalities. I think more so it looked worse than it was.
Yeah, I agree.
I don't think it was the way to do it.
No.
But yeah, I don't
But
think
in the heat of competition, heat of the moment, heat of competition. I think when you're, I always say the people who want to criticize have never been in that moment.
Exactly, and everyone knows that, man. I don't know, you watch him. I don't know if anybody is more competitive on the Chiefs than Patrick and Travis. So, and now more than ever. So there's so much more of an eye on Travis than before with the Swift thing and the New Heights thing. So now I think looking back, he probably is like, fuck.
Yeah.
Even if he doesn't say it, because now he's got a whole new fan base he didn't have.
Yeah.
But he, I think on the New Heights he explained it well. Like if you've heard him and Jason's back and forth about it at all, I think he covered it well. Then I think Andy covered it. I think it's one of those things. Look, we've said our piece on it. It's how we are. That's a father-son relationship just as much as a coach and fucking it's over with. And just and the funny thing is we see that in week 2 or losing to the Raiders, and it ain't even a thing. Like I hate to say that, but they're gonna be like, whoa, but in the Super Bowl, on the most watched Super Bowl, I think it was one of the most watched Super Bowls ever, if not ever.
One of the top watched Super Bowl games.
Yeah. There's and all the eyes on there just to see Taylor's boyfriend. Just bad timing. Not a good look at all. But I think we would have seen if it was really something that upset Andy and them. I think it would have been more to it than it is. It's just a bad look.
It to me it boiled down to its competitive nature. Someone who puts more on himself.
Yep.
And he puts the weight of the team on himself. And when you carry all that, and when you see mistakes made, it would be more of that nature. Said, I would rather me make the mistake than someone else make the mistake.
Exactly.
It's that. I mean, that's why they're 3-time Super Bowl champs.
Exactly. And Brady came out and said that he's had countless spats like that over the years, which helped the situation. And I think a lot of people, because Travis don't act very Travis doesn't act his age on that team. Like he's he's still a big kid, but until it's go time, he's the oldest guy on that entire. He's like the old man. He's been with Andy.
Was he 30?
34?
Yeah, 34, 35 or somewhere in there.
Yep. And he's been with Andy by far. He's the longest. Like he's been there with him the longest stuff. So it's also a perfect thing to set your kids aside, folks, and parents, and say, hey, you see that? Don't do that.
Yeah, it is.
If you're a professional athlete, and an adult, and you guys have a relationship like that, but any other time, that's not how we do it. It's not what we do.
Well, we had the joys of seeing the Super Bowl win.
Yep.
But we have to touch the other side.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, with the events that happened at the parade.
Mm-hmm.
I found out that was a very dear, close friend to one of my cousins who lost her life. My condolences go out to her family, and all the kids, and everybody was hurt. But, the last thing I ever want to do is get political on here, and I'm not going to.
Mm-hmm.
But what I'm going to say is this is the type of world we live in nowadays.
Yes, it is.
It is sad to think that we can't take our families, our loved ones, friends that coming in from out of town to a function like this or something like this happen. And it's not, it's almost too common.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we got lucky with the Royals. There was no incidents of, the Chiefs parades, other people being drunk, intoxicated, falling out of trees.
Right.
But to have something like this happen, and to see kind of the stuff that went through social media, and seeing, the assault rifle and everything like that, you're out there with an assault rifle for what reason?
Exactly. I 100% agree right there.
I get if you're you have a conceal and carry, but that's for something on your hip.
Yep.
Not for something you're trying to hide down your coat leg.
Right.
Sad ordeal. She was a huge staple in the Kansas City and Hispanic community.
Mm-hmm.
So, of course, my blessings go out to her family, to everybody it affected. I'm glad to see that, the Chiefs organization, the players are stepping up.
Yep.
There's a lot of GoFundMe's out there. There's a lot of stuff like that. And I'm sure if people want to find them, they can find them.
For sure.
But what are your thoughts?
I think you kind of nailed it. You always, I think people still live. It's crazy how much we all still live in kind of a naive world of this will never happen here.
Yeah.
I think because we'd had the parades, like you said, and everything was all happy-go-lucky, that sometimes people forget that it's just like a hometown situation or anything else. It's like, that would never happen here. And and I get that people need that mindset and want to try to always believe that won't happen here, and they'll tell themselves that until they believe it. But at the end of the day, as much good as there is in this world, there's every bit, if not more, bad. And I don't give a shit if you're 15. I don't care if you're 55. It doesn't matter. When you're bringing out the toys like that, you're not bringing toys like that out to fucking not just to show off. There's always malicious, bad stuff going on there, and it's a terrible thing. It's unfortunate that we have to send our kids to school and everything else and have to worry about that. Like you, I'm not gonna get political at all. But what I can tell you is, I think that, without going too far into it, I think that if you are old enough and have any kind of mental health history,
yes,
It needs to be known, and you don't need a gun. I don't give a shit what it's for, whether you're out to shoot deer or not.
Yeah.
If you've had any kind of questionable thoughts in your head of doing something to yourself or to somebody else with one, you don't need it. Facts.
Yeah.
And I think that needs, and then, but on the opposite side of that, I also think that if someone wants to get a gun,
they can get
no matter what it is, they're going to get a gun. And it's because there's already too many. There were too many. It was already. It's just like I hate to liken it to like a fishing pole or shit or anything else, but if you really want something bad enough, you're going to find it. And these days, the scary part of the world is no matter what that may be, whether it's a drug, whether it's a gun, whether it's anything.
Yep.
We live in a world now where everything is so much more fucking accessible.
Yep.
Than it ever was. So it's an unfortunate thing. Like you, prayers to their families and condolences. All the kiddos, the lady that lost her life, and then her kiddos, not having.
Yeah.
Now their mom's gone, and it's all over some fucking bullshit. And the fact that two of the shooters or two of the people they got are juveniles, that scares the shit out of me even worse. I hate to hear that, but if they get sentenced to life now or whatever, that's how.
Last I saw, unfortunately, and that's why I said I don't want to get political with it, is they're being tried as juveniles.
And see,
and that's why I say if you can parade around and try to toy around like an adult, you should be able to serve an adult sentence.
I agree. If you can make that decision to go outside of your house or wherever you're at, and you can say, and like I said, we don't know the situation, so you can't go after their parents and stuff because maybe their parents aren't around. Nobody knows the back histories, but what you and me both know, and anybody else does, outside of the mental health situation, if you're old enough to know what you got or how you got it, and what it does, that's it. You make that decision, and that's the unfortunate. And like I said, I don't want to get political with it, but as far as a judgment and jury situation, that's just how I feel about it. And it's everyone's got the thing with it, but it sucks. It's terrible, but it's the world we live in now.
I did have a older high school friend, and her and her husband were not caught in the middle, but were heading out when everything sort of happened. So they were kind of ahead of the ruckus, but felt the ruckus, I guess you would say. Yeah. Glad they're okay. I'm glad that, it sucks that they had to go through that, and, they were kind of walking out of everything and stuff like that. I'm glad her and her husband are safe and, stuff like that. But unfortunately, there were some people that were not safe. And, so all the kids are recovering, a life lost, and just, it's ridiculous now because now you go, if this happens again, what do we do?
Do?
So, other than that, man, what do they three-peat? Is it possible?
I truly believe that it's possible. I really do. I think we're going to have some financial things fall our way, player-wise. I think that the draft, what we do there, will have a significant impact on it. I think that if we do lose Snead or Chris Jones, I don't think we lose both, but I do feel like we could very well lose one of them.
Yeah.
If we do, whatever money's left, I do think that there's I feel like we're bound to get some more offensive firepower in here. I think they want to shore that up, but they're already making the right steps. Tubes re-signed, Spags is re-signed, the D-line coach is re-signed. They didn't let any of them get out of the house. You got Andy back, you got Travis back, you got 15 back. You got the whole line back. You'll have Tooney back. You have every Joe Tony, Tooney, whatever, however you want to say it. You'll have everybody going into it, and it hasn't been done. And I think that's the one thing that, like, when you look at that team and you say, "Hey, it hasn't been done," they're like, Burrow, and the Bengals are going to play into this.
Deflating do you think it is for all the other NFL teams to say, even when they're off, we can't? There's not much we could do.
Well, at this point, dude, if you're not, like, the Bengals are a perfect example. They just never stop talking shit.
Yeah,
but you can't
Jamar
tell me
Chase.
now. Oh, never shuts the hell up. I mean, he's great. Don't get me wrong, but it's like, come on. I mean, and he's just being a troll, and that's fine. But
yeah,
you can't tell me now in the back of your heads. I mean, I know they're like, hey, we got him once.
Yeah,
but that was by the seat of that was by just a couple miscues.
Yeah,
they didn't get him when last year they had a chance to get him and they didn't. And this year they didn't get a chance to because old Joey B goes down. But I feel like in the back of their heads, no matter what the Raiders say, they're hanging on to, hey, we're the last team to beat the Chiefs. I'm like, no, you're the last team the Chiefs beat themselves against terribly. I think that it's got to be in the back of all their heads. The team that's in the head the worst of, and there's no way around it, is the Bills.
Yeah.
At this point, they have to. There's no way they're not in their head saying, these guys, we can't beat these guys.
Yeah.
It's they'll never admit it, but it's got to be brewing around in there. And our division, I think we're still fine. A couple years from now, I think it might be a little tougher. But right now, I still think we're fine there. And like I said, the Ravens will be another test. But the Bengals are always going to be the Bengals. The Bills will be back in there. If Aaron's back next year and gets that right, the Jets might be sneaky. The Dolphins are still going to be there. But all of them, man, if they don't fucking respect it now and don't think, oh man, these dudes, then I mean, and if any of them like had a dominant win against us, it would be different.
Yeah.
They've won by every one of them except a couple games have been by like a field goal at the end, a drop pass by us. They're always none of them have put the Chiefs away, even when they're shitty. So it's like, all right, God forbid they get good again.
Yeah.
I mean, they're already. And how bad does that sound? God forbid they get good again, even though they just won.
This was a down year. Yeah. And this was a down year.
Yeah. And it's just, if it ain't in everybody in the NFL's head, if they're not completely put on notice already, they all fucking better be now.
I will say this. I listened to the Pivot podcast, and they just interviewed Antonio Pierce. And they asked him, said, hey, but you got the Chiefs. I mean, you got them at home on Christmas Day. You got them. He said, yeah, but who's playing in the Super Bowl?
Yeah.
And he
goes,
no
matter when you get them.
He goes, and that number 15 man, he's special.
Oh, yeah.
He said, he goes, it's one thing to see him from the press box. It's another thing to see him from the fans or behind the TV. He said, but when you see that man on ground level, he said, that guy is a different person.
Dude.
So I am happy for the city. I'm a lot of superstitious about stuff. As we know, I'm not a true diehard Chiefs fan. I watch them, I cheer for them casually. My late cousin who passed away, she was a very diehard Chiefs fan, and for her celebration of life, we were all, asked to wear Chiefs stuff. And ever since that day, I put it away. And I told myself in my head, said, if they get back to the Super Bowl, I will put that shirt on.
Oh, yeah.
Sure enough, I put that shirt on. And I said, if they don't fucking turn it around at halftime, I'm taking this goddamn shirt off. And then they turn it around. So, man, great for the city.
I need
great for the city. Yeah, it just go ahead.
I need my Lions and Chiefs next year. I was this close.
You were.
I need it.
Yeah.
The world needs it. We need the real David versus Goliath.
Yeah.
It would be.
I tell you what.
Awesome.
That would. I almost think that would have been a better game.
Oh, it would have been awesome. You'd have had.
Yeah.
The dude, David. You would have had the most David versus Goliath. It would have been because it. I was so ready because I'm the only person fucking probably sitting on God's green earth right now that whoever lost, I won, no matter what.
Yep.
Because Lions.
Shameless plug.
Oh,
Neuroscience energy refresh drink. Awesome. I drink this more than I do. This is none of these energy drinks are good, but they're a lot better. This is 100 times better than Monster, 100 times better than Red Bull, 100 times better. So, shameless plug.
Speaking of that, I got a question for you about some lovely drinks here in a little bit.
Oh, woo. Oh, another shout out. I'm gonna give a shout out for the restaurant that I went to today called Pearl Tavern in Lee Summit.
Oh,
woo!
Good stuff.
You a seafood guy?
I'm not.
You're not a seafood guy.
I don't fucking know people.
What? They have some other stuff on there, but
dude, if it's a seafood restaurant, there's a steak, and usually if they got good seafood, they can do a good steak. So,
I tell you what, I had some jumbo shrimp.
Ooh.
I had a blue crab dip. I had they called it a bourbon orange crush drink. That my God, oh,
there you go.
That I felt a little perkly after that.
There you go.
And then, but good Lord, that was some good eating.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you're a key lime guy, pie guy, but that was one of the best ones I've ever had.
Key lime is pretty good. Pretty good.
Yeah. But football's over. I know you're not a big basketball guy, which is okay.
We got to get into this too.
Well, that's where I'm going. First off, before we head that direction, we have the NBA All-Star game going on right now.
Yeah, I almost
not the game. Not the game, but the 3-point contest, the dunk contest. We'll go over it real quick. Did you ever watch any of the dunk contest, 3-point contest growing up?
Yeah, when Jordan was in them.
Okay.
And Vince Carter. Hold on, I'll take it back. I watched Kobe, Jordan, Vince Carter, because anytime Vince Carter did any dunk, it was holy shit. D. Gordon or D Brown, not D. Gordon.
Yeah, D. Brown.
I was thinking baseball.
Celtics.
Sean Kemp.
Yep.
I remember that one, and then I think I watched. Who was the last one I watched? I want to say I turned it on a couple years ago, and
It was the Zach LaVine and Aaron Gordon dunk contest.
Yes, that was. I was trying to think of the names. I'm like, I think one of them was a Laker for a minute. Yes, I think that honestly might have been the last one I watched. Now the 3-point, I always go back and watch. Like the dunk's great, but I've always been a big fan of watching the 3 balls. So
yeah,
I'll always go back and I watch that all the time.
I haven't been recorded, so I don't miss it. I love watching the 3-point contest.
Yeah, that's my favorite.
I've shied away from the dunk contest just because it's getting very watered down. Mm-hmm. They got a Celtics in there, so I'm going to watch that part of it because, so I'm going to pull for our Celtics. So Mr. Brown is in there, and he's probably like the only one that's really actively, truly like a star. That is in the dunk contest. So I don't know what they can do to revive the dunk contest. Then we have the battle of sexes. We have Steph Curry doing a 3-point shooting contest against Sabrina Ionescu.
Okay.
And if you ever followed female or women's basketball, college basketball, Sabrina is legit.
Yeah.
Now, she came from Oregon, University of Oregon, and she was a duck. She's a pretty little gal. Play her ass off, and she did a lot of training with Kobe.
Oh boy.
Before he had passed away. And she had broke Steph Curry's 3-point contest record with most consecutive points, or the highest points. So there was a little challenge put out on social media, and she accepted, and she is standing up and saying, I am also going to shoot from the men's 3-point line and not the women's 3-point line.
Hell yeah.
So I'm anxious to see that as well.
That's awesome.
I will probably end up watching the NBA All-Star game tomorrow. It's, just because not much on Sundays, and I still enjoy it in some ways. I like the NBA Christmas time when it gets going. I'll watch when my Celtics are playing. And then from time to time, I don't really get into it more until the end of the year. Because it's sort of like baseball to me. The season's long.
It's really long.
They play, they'll play like every other day pretty much. So it's like they're always constantly playing. So, other than that, man, yesterday, the start of D1 college baseball.
Yes, sir.
Oh, my God. I watched 4 games yesterday.
Yeah?
I wasn't feeling well. So I sat there and I turned on Duke versus Indiana. I watched East Carolina versus Ryder.
What a story with the dude, huh?
Patrick Bird.
Yep. How cool is that?
Absolutely amazing story. If no one has heard about it, they need to look it up. Lost his leg in a boat accident like 2 years ago and worked his ass off to get back on the field. And granted, and I'm not taking anything away from him. Shout out to Coach Godwin from ECU, putting the man in the game even though they were up like 13-2, but giving this kid what he worked so hard for.
Hell yes.
The first college player to play with
prosthetic leg.
Prosthetic leg.
Yep.
Absolutely went in there, got the walk, took him out. Crowd ate it up.
It was awesome.
Absolutely amazing story for the guy, man. And that right there, it's like you want to show to every little kid, every kid that's struggling, and saying, if you just work hard, you put your mind to it, you could do whatever you want.
Absolutely. It's awesome.
Unfortunately, my Jayhawks, they lost yesterday. They end up losing. They tried to come back, end up losing 9-11.
Yeah.
They ended up losing again today, 13-6 to University of Illinois Chicago. I watched the TCU game. I'm going to admit, I watched them. I like turned it off. I changed it because then I got to watching another game. And like, oh, they were losing big, only to get a thing that says they came back in the bottom and take the win. Yeah.
Then today, 13-11.
Then today, they had 13 runs today. 11 runs yesterday. And like we said before, they are a scrappy, scrappy bunch.
They do not go down easy.
I tell you what, I was shocked. I watched some of the ECU game today.
Did you see?
Didn't really have.
Did you see a Florida Gator team get beat?
I did see Florida Gators get beat. There was five ranked teams that went down yesterday. Opening day.
That's when you know it's college baseball.
Which I was going to ask you. Since college baseball period's a different sport. College basketball, you could kind of put into this a little bit because we have seen it happen. College football, not so much. That college baseball, there's such an equal playing field.
Oh, yeah.
From your big schools to your smaller schools
Oh yeah.
like Eastern Carolina, Coastal Carolina. Which shout out to the Carolinas because they have
doing it right.
Eight schools ranked in the top 20.
Yep, doing it right in
And
Carolina.
like half of them are ranked in the top 10. Like, this is what I love about college baseball, and I'm sure you do too, is it doesn't matter because the little guy can go out there and compete with who is supposed to be the bigger guy.
Every single night too. Every day game, every night game. Never is it a shocker for anybody to beat anybody in it. And now don't get me wrong, sometimes you'll have Wake Forest or LSU roll somebody and you'll get what you expect and they'll put up a football score on somebody. But then that's the beauty of college baseball. The next day they might have fucking literally run themselves out of it. Had a scoring party. The next day they get controlled by a lefty with a good deucer and some good changeup and shit, and lose 2-1 to the same team they just put 35 up on.
Yeah,
and it's awesome. It's so fun to watch and know that at any point in a baseball game in college, especially, that no one's really ever out of it.
Yeah,
it's so fun. I love, and and no matter where you're ranked. I always laugh. Your top 20 rankings in college baseball at the beginning of the year, you fast forward like what? Let's in a month. How things have changed.
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna like this. I watched some of the Vandy game yesterday, and I tell you what, FAU came back on them. Yep. They ended up losing 12-11. FAU did.
Yep.
Let's see. Arkansas won a close one. Trying to remember who was the big dogs that went down. I mean, God, like you said, Coastal Carolina beat George Mason 26-0.
Yeah, you'll have that.
Yeah, like right now is early, so trying to see like who ended up getting the scores were yesterday. They ended up getting who they lost to. Fullerton beat Stanford. That was one. Let's see. Yeah, that 10-9, boy, that TCU game was, I couldn't believe that. Sam Houston State beat Oklahoma State.
Campbell beat UC Santa Barbara.
Yep. So,
dude, but speaking of Campbell, the Campbells are
the
good.
Fighting Camels. The Fighting Camels. I've been trying to find a Fighting Camels hat.
Man, they're fucking good.
I want a game Fighting Campbell hat. So anybody out there that can hook it up, I want a Campbell Fighting Camels.
Those hat. Are so badass.
Oh, we talked about it. You know what? Like I said, I watched the Florida Atlantic Vanderbilt game. Like I said, I watched some of that Duke game. I watched the ECU game. I ended up watching and I started watching. We talked about him was Long Beach State versus Washington.
Oh yeah.
And then I caught the nightcap, which was Ole Miss versus Hawaii in Hawaii.
Ooh.
Yeah.
That would have been sweet.
So I would tell you what, my thoughts on college baseball is there's nothing like it. You have to love the sport of baseball, but you have to understand that it's different. There's a level playing field more. I mean, granted that it's closer in the playing field than D1 football for sure.
Oh, no doubt. No doubt. It's a whole different, by far and away it's closer. Like I don't think there's any college sport that is, that is like that. That is close no matter if you're a small school or big school, because and it, like I said, it boils down to a great defensive team and a pitcher with control and that's just taking control of the game can. It don't matter if you've got 9 All-Americans. If your dude's dealing and your boys are playing behind him, and you scrap together 1 or 2 hits and just you get a gapper or you manufacture a couple, that's all you need. And in college ball, man, you see it a lot, and it's awesome. And then and the big thing is in the major leagues, we all know, you see it, the grind of the season. There are games where you can just tell, like, they're not in
They're
it.
going through motions.
It don't matter. Some of them games are like, but then the college games, man, those kids, every one of them plays absolute balls to the wall for every inning, every pitch, nonstop, and
their energy level's on another level.
Oh yeah, their fire is everything about it is intense.
They could be losing, 8-4.
Mm-hmm.
But if you have a defensive inning and you have a pitcher who battled strikeout, they all come running out. They're cheering, they're applauding, they're doing it all that stuff. It's fun to watch. My God, I tell you what, D1 college baseball. If you have a kid who aspires to play college baseball, and definitely D1 college baseball, I know, watch a game.
Yes.
And look at these guys' bodies. They are, God. They're just, you can tell they put in the work.
Oh, yeah.
Put in the work in the weight room.
Oh, yeah.
Where it's crazy, because I remember when growing up and playing, and even the high school, they didn't want baseball players to lift weights.
Not like that, no.
They thought the muscle mass would slow you down or slow your arm down or doing stuff like that.
Yeah.
These boys.
Some of these boys are absolutely yoked.
They had a freshman for Vanderbilt. He was a freshman last year. I remember who he is because I saw some of his highlights on YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
Some of his travel ball, summer ball type stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And I saw some of that and saw his body transformation from his freshman year to this year. Good Lord.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to play D1 baseball is one thing. If you want to play on the upper echelon of D1 schools,
mm-hmm.
you better be in that gym lifting every day.
Yeah. Throw gas
every single day.
They're throwing gas and hitting tanks.
I kid you not, man. I saw a lot of home runs that just like, I was watching the Duke Indiana game. That guy from Duke hit one. The left fielder from Indiana, he just stood there. He knew. He just stood there and, like, these guys are not just scraping the fence. These boys are clearing it.
Dude, the Wichita State kid today, the Shocker dude, went 490. The big lefty?
Yeah.
Estimated 490 today.
Yeah.
And, I mean, he absolutely pissed on it off the bat. You're like, God, where's this going? I'm like, and then estimated 490. I'm like, I missed it. I don't care if it's aluminum or not. 490's yoked.
So, I was scrolling through YouTube the other night or the other day and came across another Tommy Tanks hitting video.
Oh, boy. He did.
He came in. He got in the cage, and he was with the same guy I guess he's hit with since his whole life. And he started off a little slow. And the guy says, I want you to hit it here. Next 3 shots. Boom. Now I want you to go this way. Boom, boom, boom. like, good Lord.
Dude's a ball player.
Dude's a ball player.
Dude's a ball player.
Dude, I haven't sat down and watched Wake Forest yet. I will do that. I didn't get a chance to watch LSU. I like to catch a little of the smaller schools right now.
Mm-hmm.
As Wichita State, which, by the way, Wichita State is probably the closest local team to us, is the only team to win a national championship. The 1989 squad.
Always sneaky good, too.
Yeah. Which I would love to see them get back to their prominence of what they used to be. God, I've never been so excited for a sport to start.
I mean, I'm like, the football thing was great. I'm glad it all worked out. For me, it was the best year of football, NFL football for. And here's the funny thing, because I'm a big fantasy football guy. I don't know. I don't know what happened. Usually, it's very uncommon. And this ain't talking shit. It's very uncommon for me to not win any of my money leagues. And I didn't win any. And not only did I not win any, a couple of them I just. I look back, I'm like, what the fuck happened here? And it looked good. I still look back and I'm like, God. But then, as far as the NFL season goes, I always the nerd in me for the fantasy football part of it because I love it, and I watch all the teams so religiously now. But it was just a good football year. So I was glad. It's one of my favorite football years in my whole life. I remember my Lions announced their presence with authority. My Chiefs are still awesome, and then seeing some of the young players, just C.J. Stroud's story was awesome. Just fun to watch.
He was fun to watch.
Puka Nacua thing was amazing.
I just love his name.
Yeah, exactly. It's awesome. Just so much fun football, but I love with the wrestling. Because of Braden, I have started religiously watching college wrestling on TV.
It's fun.
Oh, it's nuts.
I kid you not. When the little guy when he did his wrestling, I watched a couple Big Ten, meets, and I caught the Iowa State one,
and Penn State,
absolutely nuts.
Yes, it looks. I want to go to one, but
that's what I hear. Everybody says
I want to go to.
If you're going to go to one when they have one, you go to an Iowa one, or you go to around here, you go to Oklahoma State one.
Oh yeah, I can imagine.
I would think with the tradition, and plus they have the Wrestling Hall of Fame down there in state Oklahoma. So
I think it would be amazing to go watch Penn State and Iowa wrestle.
Yeah,
just juggernauts. But once because Matt Madness is the same time as March Madness. So I've been watching that. Obviously, I'll tune into a little college basketball at that point. I don't know who's going. What's that?
My understanding is that Matt Madness is supposed to be here in Kansas City.
I think it's the Heidi Arena. I'm pretty sure. So that'll be awesome. I'll watch a little March Madness for basketball. I don't follow it enough to know who's good. At this point, I think I hate to admit it, and it just kind of sucks. But you're gonna love this part. I think I just usually now if I fill out a bracket, I hate to write it in there, but like somehow I end up putting KU in there a lot.
Well, I'm gonna tell you right now, I wouldn't this year.
No.
Anyone who knows me, and you know me, I'm a very diehard Kansas basketball fan. I'm a diehard KU fan, period, in all sports, not just the basketball side. But they're like my, how'd you say? They're the wife that has pissed me off right now.
That's fair.
And sometimes you get so pissed you just don't even, like that meme that has it's raining and the guy's mad at his wife and he puts the umbrella over his wife and he's sitting there in rain. That's how I feel about it because like today, I didn't the way they've been playing. I didn't care to watch the OU game. Matter of fact, that's why I said let's go have dinner.
Go eat.
They're on this time. Let's go eat. I didn't. Now, granted, I sat there and checked the score, but
fair. That's
that
cool.
I have a real love and pissed off relationship with them this year because they came in so highly rated and they playing like absolute dog shit, and it just absolutely irritates me.
I understand.
So,
see exhibit Mizzou football. I understand completely. Lord, do I understand.
With baseball, college baseball started. I know we have D2 has been playing, JUCO's been playing.
Mm-hmm.
I've been meaning to ask you this. We have youth baseball practices already starting up.
Mm-hmm.
What is your opinion about this? Do we start these kids too early?
No.
Should youth baseball be started at first of the year?
Yeah, I think so.
Give me your opinion. Why?
Well,
I'm curious.
Honestly, so you're in high school. It's different because obviously you still have your other sports. Youth wrestling rolls until I'm pretty sure youth wrestling is you can probably youth wrestle year round, and you'll have youth wrestling that goes states. I don't know states in March or April. I think.
They've already had youth states of
youth state
already happened. Yeah.
Okay, so there you go. So they're done by February, obviously. So it I don't think it ever hurts to get them swinging the bats and raring to go in January. But I'm also the way Missouri weather works now.
Mm-hmm.
You can we had some 65 degree days last week.
Yeah, we did, and we have some coming up this week.
Exactly. I think that it's good to get them out and get them going. A lot of it is I've always been a believer in. I like to get if I had my way, and I remember like when I was playing too. If I had my way, I would have rather played earlier and played, especially if I wasn't in the high school, like before high school and youth and stuff. I would have rather played earlier and been done earlier in the summer.
See, I'm different,
and it's exactly. See, I look at it now. I didn't look at it then like I do now, but I started seeing it with Braden coaching him. That I was a big fan of getting it started earlier into later because as him being, and as most kids are, as you know now, being multi-sport, two-sport athletes, the rigorous football schedules that come out for summer are fucking nuts. So I became very, I would rather they got it done early or played till right around 4th of July. Because after that, man, as soon as that football schedule starts and that stuff gets going, man, there's 2-a-days and all the working out and all of that. And then it's trying to balance both at the same time, especially if you're a dude and are good at both and, you're heavy into both. That's a lot.
I get what you're saying. Mm-hmm. I have a different thought on it. Yeah. I think we start, even though, and it's going to kind of sound two-sided because, I have my boys now. We've already practiced for 6 weeks since the first weekend of January. Mm-hmm. We started rolling up. I mean, we're an hour and a half on 1 day a week on indoors. So, granted, there's not a lot to do. I mean, you get them doing as much as you can. Yeah. Don't get me wrong, but I think to me, like you said, there's because of the dual. You have your athletes that like to play the other sports. Mm-hmm. Basketball's still going on for a lot of youth kids.
Yep.
So you lose some for that. Wrestling, you still have kids that are still wrestling.
Oh yeah.
You take away from that. Mm-hmm. So they're missing out on practices. Mm-hmm. Because in the youth side, a lot of their meets are on Sundays.
Yep. There's that.
You got practices on Sundays. And depending on the time or how they're doing, they lose a practice. So they lose a day if they're not there.
It's almost the opposite side of the football side is the basketball wrestling side. You run into the same problem.
You run into the same problem.
Mm-hmm.
I'm different because of when I grew up, we played. You started later. You played through January, March, April. May, June, July, August.
Mm-hmm.
By August, you were done because then you usually had a couple weeks off.
Mm-hmm.
If you played football on youth side, you would start up around September.
Yep.
Now they have. When you got football coaches saying we're doing off-season training in the middle of summer.
Oh yeah. It's a lot, man.
It's a lot, man. And sometimes I think it's like you know, and I don't want to pick on certain things, but I think sometimes with a lot of coaches, especially the youth side of sports,
mm-hmm.
that a lot of these coaches lose players yearly. They take on players yearly, so then they have new kids coming into the game who really want to play it, who really wants a chance to play it.
Mm-hmm.
And then I noticed that youth football coaches, they just kind of put a uniform on the kid and just throw him out there.
Yep. Without teaching him anything.
Mm-hmm. But they don't understand that not saying all of them, but there are some that don't feel like it's football season. These are off-season workouts. You need to be there.
Right? Yeah. Exactly. I mean,
I'm a firm believer, and it's like we used to, even though you played all three sports and you were a multi-sport athlete, you still had time.
Mm-hmm.
Now, granted, when things got into high school and you got further into districts, you went on to state.
Yeah.
And there was, but that took first priority. Your coaches talked to one another. Yep. They were saying, okay, we'll allow, we have tryouts, so we want you to come try out.
Mm-hmm.
Still, but, we'll work around the schedules.
Right.
Just to be fair for the kids who play basketball and want to do baseball, or for the guys who did baseball and want to do other sports. So I think sometimes it's ridiculous to have these kids out here in March and it's cold and you want to play a tournament.
See, I want them, when I say yes earlier, I'm not, that's, I guess, probably where I say yes, but where I'm going with that, like, what I mean is, like, I'm all for them indoor hitting and practicing. And I guess by that, I would like them to be outside when they can be practicing and stuff. Now, I'm still of the mindset is I want them to start playing when it's a little warmer and stuff is ending. I still don't. I don't want them running into that. I want them. By started earlier for me is I want them to have the bat and like start getting the stuff out. Practicing, doing stuff like that. I don't want to. I don't. They shouldn't still. I still think when it comes to playing games. I prefer that they start earlier, but I also want. I don't want them to, like you said, I don't want them to, if they're a basketball wrestling person, I don't want to take away from that though either.
Yeah.
And then I think, and at the youth level, it's so much different because, you might have a favorite, like you might already have what you want to do.
Yeah.
And then if it's a choice where you're wrestling and then you want to go play baseball, and then it's tough because then as you're going to play baseball, you still have state. So if you're picking that, then why are you kind of so I think with me it's more I like to see them get done earlier in the summer is where I'm saying earlier. Like I don't want them necessarily playing when it's cold as shit and stuff out. I want them to practice and get the bat out and get moving around and stuff. Like I think the beginning of the year is like, hey, this is your baseball glove. Remember how this works. Play some shit.
Remember how this works.
Yeah. Go practice.
I'm kind of like that too. Is if I mean you were just kind of in this age range.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm coaching some 13s and a couple 12-year-old boys, and it's like it's crazy because right now, and I say it to many people, and I say it to a couple of my parents, is your boy now you're going to find out who really likes it.
Yeah.
Middle school age is when they start to find out what they like to do.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do I want to chase girls or do I want to go chase ground balls?
Exactly. For sure.
Do I want to sit on the bench or would I rather just sit at home and play PlayStation or game all day? I think this age you start to weed them out.
Mm-hmm.
And then it comes to talent wise. And that's another subject is like you start to tell who has the natural ability, who wants to continue on, and who just you could tell they're just there because mom and dad said I still have to play.
Yeah, they're definitely at the separation age.
You still have some kids that you could tell boys that they feel like they're there because they have to appease the dad.
Yep.
Where you start to see more that dad is trying to live vicariously through son.
I was getting ready to say, so one of those things where we talk about where basketball or wrestling or football and all that, especially in youth, where they start running into each other, and I'm not picking on either one, but two of those things that always seems to come up there, and you think about it is, number one, parents pushing the kid to play all of them. Even if the kid doesn't want to play one, the kid might want to just wrestle. The kid might want to just play basketball. The kid might want to just play baseball. And instead, hey, we have an athlete. Let's, for us, make him do all three and stretch his ass out and wear him out. By putting him in all three and then it tends to backfire, burn them out, and they'll end up hating one of them.
I was going to go down that line of saying it's like when we were talking earlier about stuff starting intertwining, and it's all like it. It's like you have parents who say, "Oh, they love doing this, they love doing that, they love between the two," but I'm like, it's fun at 10.
Yeah,
it's fun at 11, but eventually, it's not going to be fun for them because they feel that they have no time. They feel like eventually they're going to say, this is tiring. I don't want to go. And I'm burned out. I'm tired. I'm exhausted. I have a unique situation with my boy. And it's like, because I think that's where it separates a lot of things. It's like, because I'm stepdad. So you got to understand is like, stepdad has been through this before.
Yeah.
There's nothing that he's gonna do that I feel like I've never accomplished. Or I am not the person that lives through him. I'm not going to. I did my athletic days. I played my athletic days.
Yeah.
I had my time to shine.
Yeah.
Now, in the back of my mind, I go, and I tell him this as I say, look, this isn't about me. It's about you.
Yeah.
You have to understand this. I'm going to give you every tool. I'm going to put every tool in your hand. I'm going to give you every opportunity how to learn. I'm going to give you everything you need. I'm going to lay the blueprint for you. You got to pick up that blueprint and figure it out.
Yeah,
but
for sure.
I'm going to be there to push you. I'm going to be there if you have questions. I'm going to be there to make sure you give me your all.
Yes.
Because I don't want you to sell yourself short when you say you love to play. It amazed me because I had a practice ago and I had the boys grouped around and we're having our after practice kind of chit chats and I asked them like, okay, you guys are in middle school, seventh graders, sixth graders. How many have goals to go into high school? And out of the 10 that were there, maybe 4 of them raised their hands.
Mm-hmm.
So that tells me right there that eventually those ones who don't want to play start to fade off.
Yep.
Just like when we talked with Joe.
Yep.
And Joe was like, they get to a certain age, they fall off. They get to another certain age, they fall off. So you see that and you go, well, shit. Of course, I'm going to devote my time and give them everything I can and coach them up and the best I can and all that stuff. But sometimes, like, I want to try to help all you get to the next level. But then you get that defiance because they're like, I just don't want to be here anyway. So,
yep.
It's hard, man. It's crazy because a lot of these kids are getting burned out sooner.
Yep.
I worry about that with my boy, but I try to tell him, it's like, look, man, put the glove down.
Yep.
Or, and he started to say, like, I want to do this. I want to play baseball more. I want to play baseball more. And I'm like, but you got to at least put it down for a little while.
Yeah.
You want to pick it up? Like, okay. You want to pick it up? Let's go play catch. I'm cool with that. You want to go out and hit off a tee?
Yep.
Cool with that.
But give it a break.
It's time. Yeah, but when it's time to go to work, it's time to go to work. So,
for sure. I think as far as like when you were talking about coaching with the kids, so it's funny you say that. So with Braden's group, when I came on to help Jeremy Dust coach him, I was a completely different mindset of baseball than they had been taught, and that's nothing wrong. Me completely tournament. We're gonna do everything right. We're gonna do it a million times until we get it right. We're gonna have fun doing it, but by God, we're gonna be bold. We're gonna be scrappy, and we ain't gonna fuck around. Yeah. They were more some of the just let's go out, have fun. Which is great. Teach them how to be team, stuff like that. Yeah. Dustin and me were super competitive, like just by nature. And so when I came on, I think it helped both of them because I think they wanted to be that way.
Yeah.
But they just hadn't turned over the leaf to do so yet. Because them being in there, they've had the kids the whole time. Me coming in from the outside and being in there, it gave it a fresh kind of holy shit, here we are. Yeah. So I would ask similar questions, or we would have meetings after games and stuff when we'd get half-ass efforts, and you'd have 4 or 5 of them busting their ass at practice or in general, and you'd have another 5 or 6 of them that were there, and they were there to be with their buddies and have fun. But we all knew damn well that was why they were there. Yeah, and there's nothing wrong with that. So it took a lot of me to mellow out the first year a little bit and try to. I had to change my entire thought process to what was going on. Like I wanted to come in and get them prepared for baseball.
Yeah,
in high school, like have them prepared. Well, I learned that second year. I learned, and I told myself that what I was really doing is I was going to get them all. I would, of course, focus like you did, like you do. I'm sure I would focus on my ones that wanted to be serious about it, or I knew were eager to play in high school.
Yeah,
I would take a little more time, or to the side, I would have side conversations with them.
Yeah,
and work on a little bit of different stuff. But I changed my whole approach. Instead of coaching baseball, I decided that it was more. I think me, Dustin, Jeremy, all of us, we decided to start prepping them for high school sports in general. So
you hit right on the nose because
on the baseball field, there were so many lessons that we could teach them about all of the sports, as far as how to lose, how to handle losing, how to win right, how to be a part, the team part of it, the get the fucking selfish I part out of it, the put it on the guy behind you. All of that stuff like became a heavy emphasis that second year, because I think all of us knew, and we'd talked enough that we knew that some of them were going to go play baseball, and we knew goddamn well that some of them had absolutely no desire to go play baseball. But what the one thing we did know is they were all going to go play a high school sport, and to get them ready for the more in your face, mommy and daddy can't save you. No more excuses. It's time to get ready. And this is what so this doesn't blindside you. We're going to start talking to you and hitting you with it, real talk, instead of hey, we'll get them next time. It was all right. Why the hell did you do that? Use your brain, straight, and some of that had to happen. And instead of it being a baseball thing, we turned it into, I think, and the funny thing is, as we did that, they started playing better baseball.
Yes. I can see that, because right now, and I'm glad you kind of brought that up, because I feel the same way, because I ask these boys, and I try to tell these boys, is what I'm preparing you for is not, if you move on to play high school baseball, that's awesome. It's great.
Yeah, great.
But what I'm trying to prepare you for is what's going to happen come high school sports, period.
Exactly.
Once you get out of the middle school side of sports, where it's you have your teachers as coaches and whatnot, but when you go to a school that's been known as a powerhouse, or you have coaches who have been around for a long time that have has built oh God, I'm trying to think of the word. What I'm trying to think of, that has built a program,
right,
and has saying this is our way. All the high schools are now doing it. This is Blue Springs' way.
Yep.
This is a culture. There it is.
Yep, that's cool. Yeah.
You build a culture, because in a lot of these kids' lives, high school sports is the last sports that they will play.
Yes. Exactly.
So right now in middle school, since you have 50 million middle schools, we have 3 or 4 in my area that will all flood into the high school.
Mm-hmm.
So you have all these boys, and they'll play each other, they'll compete against each other, they play summer ball together and all that stuff. But that culture, that when it comes to sports in high school level, is such a different culture.
Exactly.
You hear college coaches speak about it all the time.
Mm-hmm.
You hear not even pro coaches are talking about it, that we're trying to build a culture.
Yep.
High school sports, because that is the last that some of these boys will ever play a sport. That's all they have. And we as youth coaches, yourself, myself, and many others, when you have them around this middle age group, you have to start preparing them for that next level.
Absolutely.
My job is to get them better, so when they move up to the high school age of the 14s, the 15s, and so on, they're prepared.
Mm-hmm.
The ones that want to be there.
Yeah.
It's hard to balance the ones who you could tell want to be there, and the ones who you could tell they don't really want to be there, but they're going to be there to play.
Exactly.
And it's hard because, like you said, you want to give your effort into the kids who really want to be there.
Mm-hmm.
But you don't want to not give your effort to the ones. And I think that's where a lot of youth coaches have started to become lost.
Yeah.
And saying is, we'd rather just deal with the good and not deal with the bad.
It's not the way to do it.
That's not the way to do it, because now you become that coach are you truly developing a kid who, just because he doesn't want to be there for baseball, he has aspirations to play high school basketball, high school football, high school wrestling, high school track, or what other sport they want to play in high school. So it's like I try to explain to my boys is, look, I'm trying to prepare you for what's to come.
Yep.
I ask my boys always two things when they walk into practice. How you doing? And I've said this before, how's school going?
Yep.
And I ask them, how are your grades looking? Because if you want to continue on, for all those that raise your hand and say, I want to go to high school sports,
all matters.
If you want to continue on, your grades are important. Yep. They're important to me because my son's grades are important to me.
Yeah.
So if your mom or dad come up to me and say, hey, coach, little Timmy over here, he brought home his grade card. He's got a couple D's and F's. He has some missing assignments. We would really not. We'll bring him to practice, but as a punishment, we wouldn't. I have no problem with saying sit on the sideline.
Mm-hmm.
Because what's that teaching these kids?
Exactly. No, I'm yes.
So
one of the things too, and just like you're saying, so with this coaching thing, whether it's baseball or any sport, there are things that whether you're a basketball coach, a wrestling coach, baseball coach, whatever it is that you are coaching, when you are coaching kids to be prepared for high school sports as a whole or sports in general, there are things that you can teach kids that even the bad ones that, like you said, if they want to go play basketball, you can teach them accountability because and I hope this might strike a chord with certain people. I don't really care. In youth sports, as well as I do, that in youth sports, mommy and daddy in many, many cases can sway that accountability. Or
it's getting like that in high school now too.
Exactly, and that's what sucks. Yeah. But in a lot of cases, when you get them kids, when you get an old school coach, should we say, or you get one, and this is also seniors and freshmen. When you have a team captain, like you said, when these are when this is some of these kids' final years to play sports, and you say you're good, or say smaller schools or whatever, and you come in there and are fucking off. If you have a real senior captain or some upperclassmen that have that culture, you're gonna get culture checked real fucking fast.
Yeah.
And then
very much so. I went through that scenario.
Exactly. Yeah. And you have to. So it's exactly that. Teach them accountability. Teach them what it's like, man. Let them know what they're probably gonna have to get into, and to become adult. Like find their fucking voice. If they don't have one, you don't have to be a killer with with your voice, but you better be a silent assassin if you ain't gonna fucking be a killer with your voice and speak up. Be accountable.
We had that in high school. Yeah, it is. I'll use myself as an example. It's when I made the baseball team as a freshman. I came in with a cockiness, a swagger, because I was so used to being top dog on a lot of the teams that I played with.
Yep.
And so I had that about me, and I played with some great talent and a bunch of guys, and it was like I met coaches. One of the first times I really had to face adversity as a young kid, because when you step into a scenario, you make a team, the high school team, and then you're like not knocking any of the guys, the seniors or juniors that are ahead of me. Yeah. But there was sometimes I was like, I'm better than you.
Yeah.
But they would check you.
For sure.
You're not going to play because I'm a senior.
Yeah.
You need to earn. Yeah. You need to earn it.
Yeah.
So I remember that, and came to college. I mean, it's the same thing. If you got to be a dude. Mm-hmm. You got to be the man. Like we talk about, we talk about Albert Pujols. He went to JUCO. Mm-hmm. You mean to tell me that Albert couldn't have went to Mizzou? He couldn't have went to K-State. Couldn't have went to and went on and still become who he is. Mm-hmm. But there's, he went a different route. Like, you mean to tell me this? A lot of these guys, a lot of these young kids have that. They're all about swagger now.
Oh yeah. It's a look. They're not.
It's hard because I try not to.
Window dressing.
It's hard because I try not to be contradictory when I talk about this because yes, I am a part and I help coach an organization.
Hmm?
You know, I understand what it's like to sit there and go, have parents say, I paid for this money for my kid to play ball.
Uh-huh.
But at the same time, when it comes a time where parents need to understand that these boys need to learn how to compete for positions.
Yeah.
They need to learn because in reality, yeah, you're paying, and in your mind, yeah, you're paying to play, but I'm in a firm believer when you hit 13, 12, 13 years old, you need to start learning how to build a competition within teammates, but keep it a healthy competition.
Yeah.
To where you find who has the drive to say, I'm gonna I'm going up against you to try to be the starting catcher. I'm going up against you to be the starting first baseman.
Yeah.
And try to do what it takes. But at the same time is when you're asked to sit the bench so the other kid can do it, you back him up, you cheer him on, you do that stuff. And that's
You
why
have to.
I go, go ahead.
You have to be able to put someone before yourself when there's a
Yeah.
time for it, and it doesn't get taught, it doesn't get coached a lot anymore to do that. And what I was going to say about like when you're talking about parents, there, one of the things that in high school, I know it's getting in high school, it's gotten bad too with the parent thing, but when you're on a team where you can get cut, you know, mommy and daddy can buy you a jersey on that summer team, and you might have that jersey, and that might work to get you playing time. You know, on a lot of, not every organization, but you know as well as I do, Joe talked about it too. Sometimes you buy a jersey, you're going to buy yourself some playing time. When they get into high school, if they're not ready for that because that's how they think it works, and then you got a coach and you've got 5 kids over here who want it, and a couple kids over here that you know don't, and they're just used to shrugging it off. That coach is going to be like, take that other kid, and then they don't know how to handle it, and you're like, this is what we're talking about. This is what we were. You know, this is part of what we were trying to teach you.
Yeah.
How to be able to either take a back seat if you ain't the starter and support your guy like you're saying. Because you know, you went to war with that kid. At the end of the day, you and him are on the team. You two make each other better. You know, push each other, make each other better, and then be ready for your time. If it's not your time now, and when it is your time, make sure you're ready for it. And if you're not,
when I was in high school, that was a hard adjustment for me. Because it was I think it was more because it was an ego driven thing. You know, if you have a lot of confidence in yourself playing a sport, you carry a swag about you, or I mean, more it's kind of a swag about you that says, I'm better than so and so, and I can't accept the fact that I should be playing over so and so.
Yeah.
So, and that's why I try to tell these boys is like, look, I'm trying to prepare you for this.
Yeah.
Like, I'm trying to prepare you for the next level.
Yep.
My job here is to coach you up, teach you all the basics to get you to the next level, but teach you accountability, teach you humiliation, teach you how to be a great teammate, teach you how to be, you know, just an overall good young man.
Yeah.
Because it takes a village to raise a kid.
Yeah.
Part of that village are your coaches, your teachers, everybody else.
Exactly.
A lot of guys who make it, a lot of guys who've been there, a lot of guys who are big time are athletes through their days will always say there's that one coach. Prime example, look at when we had conversation with Mike Watson.
Yep.
You know, how he talked about his high school coach. He was always there. He if it wasn't for him, they'll tell him where I would have been. So we all have those coaches, whether it's a summer ball coach, a high school coach, a JV coach. It doesn't matter. So, man, I'll tell you what, I enjoy this age a lot more. I could have done this with 9-year-olds, 10-year-olds, 11-year-olds. Like 11-year-olds was even hard.
Oh God, I can only imagine. I'm so glad I never had to do that.
I tell you what, I had some boys who drove me nuts. I had some parents who drove me nuts. I loved them all. Don't get me wrong. Some of them you just want to just go, look, man, just stop. Like let the kid be a kid. Like
yeah, man.
And I'm sure they hear me and they know who I'm talking about. So but as we're on baseball, still talking, still in sports, man. How about the Royals and the park being downtown? What do you think about it? I'm for it. I am all for it.
I think it'll be beautiful. I think it's cool that they're doing that. A part of me has an extreme soft spot for Kaufman. I always have.
I get it.
But
everybody, I do too.
I think it'll be great. I really do. I haven't jumped fully all for it yet because I keep picturing, and hear me out here. I keep picturing it finally being done. Where they're building it, the small businesses that are still down there, how that affects them. Like if they're in the way, that's tough. But I also think it'll be great for the city. But at the same time, I think and it's a stupid thing to get hung up on, and I'm sure I'll get over it. But I keep picturing the traffic if, like, I don't know, Kevin Hart's at Sprint Center and the Yankees are
you work around that, yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah,
and the Yankees are at Royal Stadium, and you're like, I'm going to go to this game. I won't get out of here until next Easter, but I'm going to go to the game. And I love the idea of a new stadium, but the fact of knowing that means ticket prices are going to be, $146.50 to sit in left field is going to be hard for me because damn well as I do.
I agree with it.
Ticket prices, but it'll be badass. Don't get me wrong.
I'm going to say this. I'm probably if someone don't like what I have to say, it's probably a little controversial what I'm going to say. But like you say, fuck it. I understand the small businesses and a part of where they're putting is supposed to be where the art district is. Nothing against the arts. I'm not saying anything negatively about arts because God knows a lot of great things come from art.
Not the revenue of sports, though.
That's where I was going to go with it.
Oh, I know where you're going.
Now,
you're not wrong.
Let me go with it as this, saying, okay, so you putting more shops up around the stadium. They should be the first ones to get offered up a spot.
Yes.
Because how else are you going to build? You want to have the community around and support this, but when you have part of the community feel like you're taking them out, and let's be honest, is the art community always already kind of has this. We always get shit on anyway.
Yeah, the unique,
invite them back.
Right, make part of that part, make a new
sports
or
it's called sports entertainment and sports entertainment and art district.
Yes, make it part of it.
Yeah,
you have to make it, and that would be cool. If they did something like that, you hope they do.
I love the idea of it. I've been on a board with it since the beginning. I think that also opens it up for them to say, hey, we're going to build another Arrowhead next to Arrowhead. Keep all that area around Arrowhead. Turn that into another district. Possibly give possibly give Arrowhead a rollover dome.
I would love the NFL for them to do some NFL experience type stuff and shit like that.
Yeah.
But at the same time, hell, we keep winning these goddamn Super Bowls. They're going to need that for parking.
I would also say, I got water in my nose. I would also say is sign Trevor Bauer. I'm out the road. I know we're talking about the stadium and the Royals. I will say this, Royals. Sign Trevor Bauer. Oh. I'm not ready. I'm gonna be honest with you. We're both diehard Red Sox fans. I'm not ready to give it up on the Sox season that even started.
Yeah, they're not a good spot.
I'm kind of going all in with the Royals this year and not the Sox. I'm gonna stick with my Sox stuff probably, but what's the risk?
Yeah, it's so weird because how do I don't. Ooh.
We need an arm.
So
you need a number one, number two.
I feel like I'm torn for if Trevor Bauer wasn't such a sick freak, sadomasochistic S&M bondage fucking freak show. I would be.
When he does behind his closed doors, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, don't get me wrong. The talent level, we're talking about a Cy Young winner that's still in a prime age pitching. So
we've had worse. We've had worse on the Royals.
I'm sitting here.
We've had worse on the Chiefs.
Yeah, I mean, you're right. You're not wrong.
The man is proof.
I wouldn't be opposed to it.
Hashtag bring Trevor to KC.
I don't love.
Hashtag Bauer to KC.
And to be fair, I don't have to like the guy whatsoever at all.
No.
But I will take the pitching.
Yes.
And we need it. So sick fucking freak aside. Freak.
Yeah.
Get that out of there and okay. Yep.
It's like to me, it's like this. Okay, as a Royals fan, you say, "I love the talent. I don't like the person." He's gonna help put ass in seats. He's gonna help us win some games.
God, he's so fucking.
It's no different when you have some of those real true diehard Laker fans that said, "I don't fucking care that LeBron's here."
That's valid.
I don't care for LeBron.
That's right.
But he's a talent.
I mean, you're not wrong.
Have everybody.
He would literally
fucking Travis Kelce.
No, he would literally. He would literally go in and be, without even a sniff of anything close, our bona fide clear number one starter. Like
hashtag.
It wouldn't even be close. Like, I'm thinking of our staff now, and I'm like, that it's not even. It would be.
Trevor Bauer, if you're out there, if you listen, if someone listens to those Trevor, hey, you got a pitcher-friendly ballpark. My God,
he knows too.
Hey,
he's hit for Cleveland.
Hey, every beginning of the game, you give one good throw out to the center field, try to hit the
jumbotron.
Man,
is he gonna bring? Is he gonna bring JUCO college guy? What's his name?
JUCO Bandit.
Yeah. Lift heavy,
that jabroni
or whatever.
Yeah, man. Hey, I'm all aboard. I was the same. Hey, I when everything came out, I was like, God damn,
freak.
Okay.
Freak.
I've known freakier other people in regular life.
That's not. You're not wrong there. You're not wrong there.
And then you got the female who just she screwed herself.
I think too is even before that. Well, timeout. I can't. I'm like no, because I'm I'm gonna sound so stupid when I say it. I ain't even gonna say it. I was about to say, he even before that he was such a fucking weirdo.
He is a weirdo.
But who am I going to say?
That?
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. Who am I to say anything about any weirdos when Mr. Zach is the weirdest son of a bitch ever?
Yeah.
Any dude that yeah, that's fair. I mean, I'm not. Yeah, you're onto something there. You're on something there.
Hey, Trevor Bauer, Kaufman's calling. Come on aboard.
And the Central's winnable.
Yeah.
It's winnable. Why not win it with a bunch of young kids from fucking Royals? Just don't go to the fucking Dodgers.
You look perplexed. Well, I don't think the Dodgers. I don't think the Dodgers would take them.
Yeah, well, wasn't he a Dodger when it all went down?
Yeah.
Yeah, so
they don't want that.
Well, they got this one. They got this one guy that is already hitting tanks. He can't pitch this year yet, but one round of VP and he's hitting the ball to Guatemala with a big ass scar on his arm, looking absolutely humongous. And then the other, the one kid, the pitcher they signed, looks like he's just throwing fucking frisbees already. So,
well, I saw Shohei, and then they said that Shohei wasn't even going, but 50%.
Can you imagine hitting the 450-foot homer going 50%?
Yeah. Just.
And having MVP, as the first three guys in your lineup.
I did see the most current MVP take some batting practice.
Freak.
And there is, I guess when you talk to baseball guys like ourselves who've been around the game for a long time and understand a wood bat and understand the difference of a sound of when someone has it and the bat, even at the pro level. I saw his round of BP. I think it was on Sports Center or something like that. And my God,
I'm telling you, man, it's coming. Like the MVP last year, it's coming. That I think we're about to see. Like for the stretch, if he stays healthy, it is finally. And what's he, 25? 24, 25. Yeah, I think we're into the.
Who are you besides Acuna? Who are you looking forward to seeing play this year?
Every single one of the Orioles. I'm curious to see if Jackson Holliday makes it. I think he's got a shot.
Yeah. I know we talk about bring Trevor to KC, but there's a lot of talk about take Trevor to Baltimore.
Oh, that division's over if that happens too. I want to see
Baltimore.
I want to see. I mean, I don't want to see him in them, but Soto is now in the fucking most hitter-friendly park ever, where if he sneezes, he'll hit a bomb.
Yeah.
So if Soto stays healthy and doesn't go into one of those crazy weird, you know how it is, he'll go on a 3-week slump where he can't hit nothing, and then you fast forward to the end of the year and he's OBP's $1 billion, he's walked 4,000 times, he's batting fucking 290 with 45 bombs. If he, I don't know how he'll hit at Yankee Stadium, but I got a pretty good idea if he's healthy what it's going to be like.
Oh yeah,
especially with Judge too. And then Volpe, I do like watching Anthony Volpe. I think he's fun to watch. I always like watching the Blue Jay boys. Vladdy's. It's hard not to love Vladdy. Bo Bichette's fun to watch. But I mean,
who's the other junior that's coming up the ranks for them? They got another play.
Oh, for Toronto?
Yeah.
Jesus Christ, they got. Oh, there is another junior. You're right.
Yeah.
Because Kevin Biggio's up, Bo Bichette's up, Vladdy's up. What's the other one? You're right. I can't think of who it is. There's another one.
Yeah, there's another one.
Somebody else's kid.
Yeah.
But then there's I don't know if you saw that Wander Franco shit showed all that out of there. The kid that's coming up for the Tampa Bay, their young kid. The Astros are always, but I like watching Jordan hit.
Yeah.
But I don't really I think our division I think I hate watching the Central the most.
Yeah.
I know the Royals are in it, but
it's rough.
It is.
It's rough. I'll tell you what, I'd like to see, of course, Bobby Witt. I'm gonna love to watch Bobby Witt.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Bobby Witt's always gonna be up there.
Because he is up in the Pacific Northwest, and it gets lost sometimes on the West Coast, is Julio Rodriguez.
He's a freak. He's a freak.
He is probably, to me, I almost say he is he will nip at the heels of Acuna soon. Of course, Corbin Carroll, I like his great young talent. You know what I'm excited to see the most, see what he does with a full year, is Ellie De La Cruz.
Oh, he's a freak daddy. Well, and speaking of the Cruzes, you get O'Neal Cruz back too for Pittsburgh. He's healthy again, so we'll see like Statcast error between the two of them. Both of them will hit the ball 9,000 miles an hour, and then they'll both throw the ball 176 miles an hour across the diamond. Because why not see if a first baseman's hand breaks every time we throw the ball?
Yeah, why not?
She's just throwing.
The pitcher from LSU, Paul Skeens, showed up to Pittsburgh training camp, and throwing BBs and breaking his throwing partner's gloves already.
I think I don't see him staying in the minors. I don't think that.
No.
I think Skeens is already heading where he's going to be.
Yeah.
There's the one. What was his name? Last year for the Twins. Like I said, I don't like the Central, but rookie came on last year at the end of the year. Hit really well, and I cannot think of his name for the life of me. But he was a kid that I hate that I can't think of his name. Kid, he was really. I enjoyed watching him, but his mind just totally went blank on who I'm talking about. Young kid.
God,
Royce Lewis is his name.
Yeah.
He was fun to watch. I enjoyed watching him. I thought that he seemed good. And it's hard not to like the Diamondbacks, man. Corbin Carroll's a freak.
Their lineup is solid.
And I'm interesting, as far as interesting, like just interested in seeing what happens with somebody. I'm very interested to see Tatis Jr.
Yes, I was going to say that. I'm interested to see how he bounces back
and being in the outfield.
After that happened. Yeah,
and being in the outfield now and fully evolving into that. If he stays in the outfield, I'm curious to see how that.
I think keeps him healthier.
Yep, and Xander's going to second.
They're moving to second.
Yep.
I'm not sure about that move.
I don't either, but I guess
I don't know about that move, but that's why they make the big butts making those decisions.
Right. I'm curious to see how Tatis does, though. If now that he's got all that behind him, he's healthy. He obviously transitioned to the outfield really well now. He's solid at that. And then be lying to you if I'm not banking on bounce back Bryce Harper. Elbow's fine. Now off the elbow surgery at the end of last year, start about September is when you started seeing Harper. That was the Harper there the year before, MVP Harper. I coming now fully healthy. If he's in that elbow's all healed up, Harper he just seems that he seems to me he just low key sneaky gets better and better and better. And I always want Trout to bounce back. I keep my fingers crossed for one healthy year. I just want him to have one healthy year so we can just get some vintage Trout. I don't think because of all the injuries and you can see it on the inside fastball now.
It's
caught up with him. But I would just love to see I would love to see a good healthy Trout year.
I would love to see him get to somewhere that gives him a chance. I will say that
traded to the Phillies at the All-Star break.
You would say Phillies. I was going to say Atlanta. I think he'd be perfect. I think he'd be a perfect fit down in Atlanta.
You know the sneaky guy that's in Atlanta that I don't think anybody is thinking much of it, but could actually just work out as a Brave thing. Jared Kelenic being there.
Yeah.
He's a sneaky power guy. As if that team needed any more guys to hit tanks.
Yeah.
He might bat 200, but you might also get off the bench or whatever he is. You might accidentally get another 25 homers, as if they don't have enough guys that do that.
Well, man, I tell you what, pitchers and catchers have reported. Let's see what the players start reporting here soon.
Mm-hmm.
God, some of them are already in there.
Holiday. I know Holiday's already in Baltimore, just fielding it up and getting ready to
go. You have
Adley's
Major League. I made a post saying Major League Baseball pitchers and catchers are starting up. D1 baseball started up. High school baseball is around the corner. Yes. Youth baseball is pretty much training right now.
Go time.
If you are a baseball fan, this is the fun time of year. Man.
You need that daylight savings time part to kick in. Get them get that sunlight back, and then that's it. And then it's a wrap. It's time.
You have anything else left to say to the people?
No, man. Keep liking it. Keep sharing it. Keep listening to us, even though we talk for a long time. And I beat around the bush and say a whole bunch of weird shit. I always get my point across.
Hey, I tell you what, this is going to be fun. Hey, oh man, this is our 10th episode together already.
We're already on 10.
Already on 10.
Yeah.
And we're creeping. Numbers are kind of up and down, but hey, we're just starting. Yeah. We're just starting.
Man, and I'll tell you what, every week we do this, we can always talk to our wives about whatever we can talk to our wives about. And don't get me wrong, we can always do that, but our chop it up sessions are like the best therapy that anybody could probably have. I feel like as just men folk, and I know if he's, and I know he watches and stuff. Oh, two things. So if he's watching us, which he usually does, shout out Travis Rogers. I know, bud, you've been. Yeah, I know. I know. Every once in a while, when we're talking on here, you'll send me a message and say, "Man, I felt that." So keep doing your thing, dude. You're doing a great job, and I'm jealous of you being in New York City. That's some bullshit.
I saw that. A little jealous.
And then, so I have a duo. One of them is one of the wretched. I told you this before. One of them, and if I don't shout them out on here, they asked me this morning. They caught me as soon as I walked in. I got a duo of Lawson High School wrestling coaches, Mr. Brett Campbell and Mr. Dustin Sullard, that would love to join us on here.
Hey.
And I'll tell you what.
All we have to do is work around the schedule. That's it.
Man, I'll tell you what, and they'll talk. Brett's got two of them in tournament baseball. He got one in tournament baseball. He got a little fast pitch girl and freshman that's tournament softball. He got wrestlers of galore. Dustin's got a big ass meathead boy child that's playing football, and his little lady that's a little superstar athlete at everything. They'd be
shout out to Dustin Danner's boy. I saw he qualified as well.
Yeah, Micah. Yep.
Yeah, so shout out to him.
Punched his ticket and 100th last night got his 100th win. Yes, sir.
Yeah. So I tell you what, man, we don't have the fancy productions. We don't have the fancy, suits and all that other fancy podcast stuff. We're just two normal guys. I do have a little fancy microphone.
I have to get me one. I keep telling myself, I have to get me one of them fancy microphones.
Hey, we're just two normal guys, and I hope if anybody gets it, is to realize we're not like people who the star athletes that do their podcast, or the movie stars that do theirs, or the high powerful ones. We're normal everyday Joes like everything else.
Yeah, man.
They love sports, talk about fatherhood, talk about anything, everything going on in the world, and all that, man. But as always, next week we're out of here.
Yes, sir.